both have to win their own seat, and that's fine. So, the way we're going to do this is I had created a situation for 4, and we don't have 4, so that'll help my schedule anyway, but I would like each of you to give a 5-minute opening talk on why you want the job and why it's important that you get elected. Go ahead.
All right, thank you everybody, and hello to all my fellow Democrats. Judy left. So this is the 3rd time that I've been here, and I want to thank you for hosting this. We're Patriots, we're Americans, and we all want what is best for this country. We have different opinions on a number of issues, but I'll tell you where I'm at, where we agree, where we disagree, and the main reason I'm running for Congress. So I am pro-life, and I do support the Second Amendment. And on my side of the aisle, that always doesn't go over well, but they know it also. In Congress with pro-life, I would and will support legislation that when a fetus begins to feel pain, 20 weeks, you can no longer have an abortion after that. It is probably at this point, as far as we can go, with Roe v. Wade already in place. And my opponent, Charlie Dent, voted against that when he had the opportunity to support it. So on that point, we're different. The Second Amendment, it's interesting. The Constitution Center in Philadelphia has a way to be able to look where the ideas for the Bill of Rights came from. And so the well-regulated militia is in there, of course, with the Second Amendment. And the part of the Second Amendment of personal ownership of firearms for personal protection and for freedom, well, that came from Pennsylvania. And that came from Berks County, Lehigh County, and Northampton County, because at that time, we were the frontier. And so, clearly, in the 15th Congressional District, the Second Amendment is a very important issue to the people who live here, and I support it. But that's not why I'm running for Congress. Charlie Dent also supports the Second Amendment, so that's not a difference with us. Trade agreements have been a disaster for this nation, beginning with NAFTA. The first thing I will do in Congress is to sponsor legislation to give our 6-month notice that we are out of NAFTA. And that's not even meant to be an applause line. That's a kindergarten step. NAFTA only includes 2 other nations, Canada and Mexico. So we take that 6-month clause that says we're out, 6-month notice, and then we renegotiate with Canada and Mexico trade policies that benefit us. So Carrier isn't going to go to Mexico. And the billions of dollars of investment in auto plants in Mexico is going to evaporate, and it's going to come here. It's very simple. It's the easiest thing to do. It's the top of my agenda, and it's the first piece of legislation I will sponsor or co-sponsor in Congress in January. My opponent, and I wish he was here. I don't know how often Mr. Dent comes here. Again, this has been my 3rd time, and I've always felt welcome, even when we disagree. He is for free trade. And he thinks the trade agreements have been good. He announces statistics that I don't know where he gets them from. Maybe the Chamber of Commerce that seems to think we're doing better because of these trade agreements. I see other statistics that we're getting murdered by these trade agreements, but I also see the reality of it, where I live in the Lehigh Valley and here in Berks and even down in Dauphin and Lebanon counties. And common sense tells you it's not going to work. The trickier part is going to be getting out of the World Trade Organization, which is a must, because we should in no way be trading with communist China. Not only do they cheat, steal our technology, and decimate our manufacturing, but they are the #1 enemy nation state that we have on planet Earth at this point, and it's basically to be a traitor, to be setting up an agreement that benefits communist China, because what that does is when I buy this iPhone, I'm helping to build up the Chinese military. And I'm helping to build up the Chinese internal police state. And that military at this point is now able to threaten us. Charlie Dent and I have had a number of debates. There is a congressional report every year on our security and economic relationship with China. I asked him if he read it. He didn't read it. It mentioned 3 very serious points about China. They believe they can withstand a nuclear attack and deliver a retaliatory blow. They believe they're going to be able to knock out every one of our satellites in every orbit, and we cannot defend against their cyber security attacks on us. Dent didn't read it. That's serious stuff. It's got to change in the next Congress, or we're going to be in deeper trouble. Thank you.
Good evening, folks. My name is Sean Patrick House. I come from Columbia, Pennsylvania. I'm a member of the Libertarian Party since 1992. I'm actually the chairman of the Libertarian Party here in Pennsylvania, appointed this year. My background, I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Information Systems. I was born in the city of Coatesville. My father was in the military, so the first 11 years of my life I traveled to Fort Meade and Fort Lewis in Germany and all places as a little Army brat. Very authoritarian household. We're here to talk about politics. Politics is control. So whether you're going to dance with the Republicans or you're going to dance with the Republicans, or Democrats are going to tell you what you want to hear, but it's going to continue on and on and on. The Libertarian Party is here to break this Coke and Pepsi mentality that that's all you have to drink if you're the water candidate. It's real sad that we just had our 3rd presidential debate. Our presidential candidates, both 2-term governors of states, New Mexico and William Weld of Massachusetts, were both Republicans over heavily Democratic states and got elected twice. Border governor, as Governor Johnson was. So what I'm getting at is we are really missing out on not having them in the debates. I know there's a lot of animosity against Trump. I like to know there's a lot of animosity against Hillary. Yes, I believe Hillary deserves to be in jail. But I don't think that we should be giving Mr. Trump this pass. Before you guys picked your candidates, I was encouraging all my friends to support the Liberty candidates on either party. That would have been Representative Rand Paul, and that would have been Bernie Sanders. Because in 2012, I was the county chair for Ron Paul. We supported him, and the Republicans shafted him. They shafted him in 2008. So now we saw the Democrats shaft Bernie Sanders by not counting his votes, having these super delegates. This is typical politics. And I have a 10-year-old in the back with my daughter. There's a big libertarian porcupine up there, which is our new symbol. It says, "Don't tread on anybody." We're tired of Coke and Pepsi candidates, as I might have stated earlier. Too much high fructose corn syrup in politics. We want to get to the root of the issues. So again, running for the 16th Congressional in my area for Berks County, we have just basically the city of Reading, and I think it's Spring Township. Jerry Gelliff is in our back. He is our Berks County representative. They have monthly meetings because, again, we need to offer more choices. And we will be running candidates next year for township supervisors, county commissioners, mayors, so on and so forth, because this is not going to go away just because they closed out our presidential candidates. I was involved with the Chamber of Commerce debates with Representatives Senator Smucker and also Christina Hartman. That's my Democratic and Republican opponents. This is an open seat. Joe Pitts was there for 22 years. That man's going to get $90,000 as a taxpayer-funded pension, and I do not believe anyone deserves a taxpayer-funded pension. I think you get paid, if you're in Congress, getting paid $176,000 a year, there's absolutely no reason that I can't get a private 401k and not put the onus on top of you folks. Our teachers, I mean, we have to start fresh. Anyone that's going to get elected to office has to come to this conclusion that they cannot get a taxpayer from the taxpayer, a pension from the taxpayer. We've got to start fresh. I'm not scaring all the other teachers and everybody else that have pensions. You folks need to get your pension shored up, and that includes Social Security. There's absolutely no reason that we should be borrowing from Social Security. Now, my Democratic counterpart, Paul Rizzo, is going against him. I have issues with these wars. We've been in Afghanistan for 15 years. My father volunteered for Vietnam. He was one of the first male nurses and flew medevac. And he was a volunteer as an older fellow. And that's why I said I come from a very authoritarian family. But you start digging deep into it, you find out, why are we in Afghanistan for 15 years? Why are we in Iran? Why are we in all these places that they were already talking about going into when there were other candidates? So anyways, I look forward to answering any question. We want to expand and benefit the folks here that need representation. There's 16% independents in the 16th congressional, 45% Republicans, 38% Democrats. I plan on getting at least 10 to 15%, being the first libertarian elected to Congress, to correct this problem that we have with our congressional staff. They've abrogated too many of their responsibilities, starting with the printing press, Federal Reserve, but we can talk about that later.
We're now going to have some Q&A time, and Q&A ready to fire off there. What we're going to do, we're going to have a question. Each of you get 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes to respond, and we'll have 3 questions. So go with the first one.
It's not disputable that we are losing jobs to foreign countries. Government controls, EPA mandates, non-competitive tax structure, and robotics all play a part. However, the trade deal with NAFTA, GATT, and TAP are arguably not in the best interest of the American worker. While capitalism embraces free trade, what is your position on the trade agreements? You hit on some of these.
I'm involved with the Hemp Industries Association. Everything Judy talked to you about, I introduced the Senator Reform in 2007. I covered that Conestoga wagon twice with hemp canvas. So I import tons of hemp seed from Canada to make our hemp pretzels, our hemp foods. And my goal is to contract with our Pennsylvania farmers. I detest NAFTA. For me to ship up pretzels to Canada is crazy. It's cheaper to ship them to California 3,000 miles. So it doesn't benefit this small business. I am certainly in favor of fair trade, honest trade. I'm against monopolies, just like I'm against big government access. A lot of this stuff with the TPP apparently is backroom deals. We have the ability to be sued by these type of companies, so I'm very skeptical. And if I'm that congressman for the 16th congressional, you're darn rooting that I'll be looking at fair trade. But we want to create jobs from the farmers' fields right here. Chemurgy, alchemy, they call it hemp the new billion-dollar crop in 1937 when that was backed by silver and gold. So you're talking trillions of dollars. My scare here is the Pennsylvania state store mentality. Well, politicians are going to get their fingers in, while they're going to keep the small farmers out, because we can create a lot of jobs from the farmers' field. Concrete, composites, press board, all your new cars and interior car panels are hemp. This is all renewable agriculture versus single source, fracking, coal, which is single source, and only a few people really benefit. So anyways, I would look with a judicious eye at all trade agreements, that it's not hurting the American people.
So the lie that you're going to hear is, and it keeps getting brought up, that we're only 5% of the world's consumers. It's a lie. We're 5% of the world's population. We consume 27% of the world's products. Next is, thanks to our idiocy, is China at 8%. Japan's at 7%. Germany's at 5%. And Great Britain's at 4%. So you look at us and our other 3 allies, and we're about 43% of the world's consumers. We have the power to name the rules and to make sure they benefit us. In flipping away, the more we allow China to prosper and become a military might, and then the lies about the WTO, if you remember, this is 15 years ago now, was that getting China with more products and somewhat of a middle class, it's going to make China more of a democracy. It's been the exact opposite. The police state is worse than it's ever been, and it's stronger than it's ever been. The lie about Mexico was that Mexico would prosper and have a middle class, and then we would do well. That was a lie also. 20 years later, you've got people working there for $8 an hour, drugs are flying over the border, and Mexico's in chaos. So they have been lies to us with both of those, and then the Trans-Pacific Partnership, President Obama is stabbing Democrats and this country in the back. Because it's not what he campaigned on as a senator, and it's not what he talked about when he was a candidate. I'm an independent Democrat, otherwise I couldn't have said what I just said. I'm going to look to serve one term in the 115th Congress, because Congress is evenly divided on this. Fast-track legislation passed by one vote. You elect a few more people like me that are for us and for fair trade. We have a president that supports fair trade. It's going to flip in the next Congress, and we're going to have manufacturing jobs come back. It's very simple to do, and the momentum is on our side. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have a second question from our questioner.
U.S. Congress, we have 4 incumbents representing Berks, all no shows. For the first 4 years, one party has controlled the House and Senate. While the economy is at a near standstill, the federal budget keeps climbing. Will you come into the voting against any budget that increases spending above the previous year, except in time of a declaration of war?
In August, the Congressional Budget Office put out a report. This is the Congressional Budget Office. Most Republicans and Democrats think that they're pretty nonpartisan and accurate. And what they said was that if federal spending overall increases at 2% a year, and there is no increase in taxation, then in 8 years the debt will be eliminated. So, well, but the clowns in Washington can't even do that. I mean, they couldn't even keep it to 2%. It would be the easiest thing to be able to accomplish, right? I mean, any of us could sit down at the budget, take a look at it, cut out a lot of the garbage that's there, make sure defense spending is only for national security, not for a congressman to get another kickback or something. So I think it's very easy to do. The other thing that I would look to do is to make sure, and I don't know if there's a question on immigration next, is there? Okay, there's not. But there are other ways that we can very easily balance the budget. And again, the Congressional Budget Office gave a very, very simple path that we can disagree on, but what I'm saying is it's within reach for reasonable people to balance that budget. And after that, then other than a national emergency, right, we would have to always have a balanced budget.
I consider myself a statesman and not a politician, so I'd rather tell you what I feel is a vision for leadership that we need to change. We definitely need to reduce our $20 trillion deficit for my 10-year-old, for everybody else. That again deals with our monetary system. I look at it as a libertarian that we need to do what the Republicans and Democrats have not been able to do, that will continue to tell you every 2 to 4 years what they're going to do, but they don't. And I'll give you an example. I was at a Rotarian meeting with Mrs. Hartman. Mr. Smucker did not show up. One of the questions came from the Rotarians was, as a freshman congressman, don't you have to spend X amount of time making phone calls and fundraising? She said, yeah. It's going to happen to Lloyd Smucker. I'm not going to be doing that. We're going to be doing the people's work. We're going to be exposing what's going on at the federal level so folks are aware of what's doing, what needs to be changed, whether it's going to be enacting a Grace Commission that was told to us a long time ago, or as our representative is also saying to the congressional district. We can look at what the Pentagon was recommending for reducing expenditure there. We've got to look at different funding mechanisms, the way they're done. We've got to go with a constitutional apportionment. We've got to abolish the IRS, and then for abolishing the Drug Enforcement Agency, they have no use or purpose. Same with the TSA. That type of reduction in these budgets, and these folks need to be able to show us budgets, just like you or I would if we got asked by the IRS to come clean. They need to show us the same thing. And our taxes need to be apportioned, but we need to get rid of our income tax, Direct taxes on individuals are unconstitutional. There's so much that we need